You're hiding that?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for
No one will ever know we use mics in interviews then. They don't these days.
Okay, say again. Shall I keep people from...
Yeah, just so that there's a sort of circle so that he feels like it's just the two of us and it's don't feel like it's more.
Don't feel like there's any viewers watching.
Yeah, like if you're talking right to them.
Right. I'm talking.
No, I know, I know that. No.
Is that door shut? Yes.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. You tell me when you have speed then. Are we all ready to roll? Speed? Okay, so you're starting the time. First off, what an incredible show last night.
Well, thank you.
Back on the boards. What does it feel like?
Oh, it's brilliant, you know, being in America. We've done 8 countries in Europe, which was great. But there's that little edge with an English-speaking audience that's a little bit different. You just feel like you're thinking in the same language. There's actually not that many English-speaking audiences. You think about it, it's England, America, Canada, Australia. You're starting to run out.
You, seems like really tight little band, back to rock and roll basics. Is that
Well, I mean, you know, the thing is when we were considering doing this tour, we started to think, like, what are we going to do? And the first thing I thought was, well, we've got to play a lot together. You know, no matter how great your musicians are, if you look to the side on the stage and you don't really know these guys, it can be very embarrassing, you know, it can sort of put you off your stride. So we took a little bit of time to get to know each other and did a lot of sort of little promotion things and miming things and stuff that were easy to do. And then we played a lot together, and they're a good band. So we really concentrated on the music, you know, instead of like bothering with the image and what we're wearing or like, you know, what colour's in this year kind of thing. We don't bother with that. That all just comes. We just try and mainly concentrate on the music.
you sold out within an hour in every city so far in the United States. Was that a surprise to you at all?
Surprise? Well, it was a pleasant surprise, you know. I mean, it's always great when they ring you up and say, you've sold out. Guess how long it took, you know. It's like about half an hour in the New York shows, I think. It was brilliant. I mean, you know, because if you come into a place, it really is good to feel like people are hot to see you. It makes you feel better, makes the whole event better.
It's the hottest ticket this year.
The hottest ticket, babe.
Scalpers are getting up to $1,000. What do you think of
Are they?
that?
Well, I'm not paying it. I don't care what you say. It's too much.
Robert Hilburn's calendar story, did you read it? Well, it
definitely.
Yeah, okay. It made it seem as if this tour was like a risky gamble as a way to recapture a contemporary audience.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, you know, pretty much everything you do is a risky gamble, if you think about it. The Beatles forming as a group was quite a risky thing, because we were, you were supposed to get jobs, and we all threw all that up and did a thing, you know, all that kind of paid off. It's okay, it's Christmas. We've
Okay,
I guess we're back here.
No, I have no idea where we are. We were talking about
continuity. Now he's zipped his jacket, and the mic is no longer.
Speed. You recently settled the 20-year Beatles lawsuit. Is that like a fabulous relief?
Yeah, really. It's been a pity, you know, that it's taken so long. I mean, you wouldn't have believed anything could take 20 years. It's just been one of those crazy things, you know, that when something like that breaks up, what happens is the lawyers get in, and you can't blame them for saying, my client believes, you know, and then you think you've got it all settled at the end of the year, and then somebody walks in and says, well, we want this, and, you know, so it's gone on forever. And the main pity is just the personal thing, you know, if you want to ring people up and you just want to say, you know, Happy Christmas, or you want to send them something on their birthday, but you think, oh no, you know, they're in negotiations, it spoils everything, you know. So you just can't behave normally. You've just got to always remember the adversary position and all that crap, you know. So, yeah, it's a huge relief to have it done. I almost can't believe it's finally done. It's taken so long.
What will it mean in terms of future projects? What about the Long and Winding Road?
Well, we've been talking about, we've got this film we've been trying to make forever called The Long and Winding Road. And basically it's the Beatles story, you know. And we've always felt that if we could work on it together, we could correct a few of the mistakes, you know, that some of these fab books that come out, they say these weird stories, you know, at least you could narrate and say, well, that wasn't true, or that's true, because, I mean, it takes a lot, though, to correct some of these misapprehensions. I was in a shoe store in America, and there was this young girl there who'd been to a summer camp where they taught like a course in Beatle music, you know. And so she was saying, I just went to the Beatles summer camp, and I said, oh, great, you know, wow. And she said, is it true at the end of Sgt. Pepper or something, that when you turn it backwards, it says so-and-so, you know? No, and she said, and you meant that? I said, no, we didn't actually. She said, you did? I said, no, we didn't. I was there. Now look, you know, and she was like, well, my teacher said you did. It was like, step outside, kid. You know, but so that's hard, you know, to try to correct some of those things, because they're getting into like schools now. Some of these stories, you know, if you turn it backwards, that's what they did, and really most of it was jokes, you know, cranberry sauce, you know, that was on the end of one of the records. I mean, that was just our sense of humor, you know, just to put something funny in instead of something boring.
Now, with The Long and Winding Road, is it true that you and George are going to write a song for that? Or?
Well, you know, if we get it together and if we do it, which it looks like we might be able to now, one of the things we said that would be interesting would be to maybe me, George and Ringo do some new music. Say we could start it off if we had a scene to do some incidental music to, we could maybe start there. And then that might develop into a song or something. And George and I have never written together in all the time we've known each other. We've never actually written a song. So that could be very exciting, really, you know.
It's been 19 years since the Beatles broke up, and people are still fascinated and obsessed. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, it was a big thing, you know, the Beatles. It was, I always liken it to kind of like a Charlie Chaplin kind of thing. No matter even if he's an old bloke living in Vevey in Switzerland. Is that Bowie? No, Charlie Chaplin. You know, people remember him as the funny little tramp. They don't remember him really as the sort of the old man who wrote the theme for Limelight. You know, he's just a funny little man with a funny walk and the cane and stuff. I think the Beatles, there's an element of that. That it was a time, the 60s, when we personified the mood of the our country, probably America too, and a lot of the world. So I think, you know, that kind of impression lasts. No matter if we were to retire, we'll still be Beatles. You know, when the Beatles broke up, we tried to say to journalists, they'd say, and Paul, Beatle Paul, and I'd say, no, ex-Beatle Paul, you know. It doesn't work.
No.
You're Beatle Paul, that's it. That's end of story.
What was the most precious part of having been in the Beatles?
It's too long a question to answer it. If you've got 5 hours sometime, you know, I could start to tell you. But I'll try and have a stab at it. The most precious part was the guys, the band. That was definitely the most precious thing. That we were a good little band, you know. I mean, it sounds like an understatement, but that was the anchor of everything we did. If we sat down to just do a little bit of a jam or something, because we'd come up together from Liverpool. We'd known each other. I'd known George in school, and John had gone to the art college next door, and then we'd known Ringo for a long time. That was the precious stuff, you know. I mean, kind of things that bring you together as people. I think that's why it was so painful when it broke up, you know. Suddenly, like, we were like really like brothers, and suddenly it was like, ooh. I mean, what you used to get, you get the kind of thing where if it was cold, I remember once going up the motorway in England, and it was like this Christmas again. It was very foggy, and we were going up the motorway in a van, and a pebble hit the windscreen and knocked the windscreen out. And, you know, it's like, it can get like, you know, Canada or New York and stuff there. It can get really, you know, below zero, and it was. And we were all freezing, but we had to reach Liverpool. We still had like 100 miles to go in this van. And the heating wasn't doing much, you know, with the windscreen out. It was like, not a lot. So we ended up actually lying on top of each other. And that was the only way we could keep warm. I just got this image, you know, of us all just, how are you feeling? Warmer. How you doing? A little Beatle sandwich.
That's great. Michael Jackson just licensed the rights to All You Need Is Love for a Panasonic commercial in Europe.
Oh, has he?
You didn't know?
No, I don't know any of that stuff.
Oh, I heard that you were trying to stop it.
Oh, yeah, I'm always trying to stop it, but I don't know the specific things. No, I don't think you should do that, you know. I think that the point is, like, with the Beatles, we didn't do commercials. That was like a thing we didn't do. So that the songs like Revolution didn't mean a pair of sneakers. It meant revolution. It was an idea, you know, that like became important to some people. All You Need Is Love is an idea that's important. The minute it starts getting attached to like a speaker or like, you know, someone's left sock. I think it belittles it, you know? And that was why we didn't do it. We had the opportunity, believe me, you know, we're at the peak of the Beatles' power. Better believe these soft drinks firms that we know so well were ringing up and saying, you know, will you do this? And we considered it, but we always thought, nah, you know, our fans will really think, uh-oh, they've gone, you know. And we always found we didn't need to do it. You could have used the money, you know, you could have had a few extra holidays or something, but it didn't seem worth it. It seemed to belittle the copyrights. So, because we never did it, and because we were so keen to never, ever do it with any single song, ever, I think it's wrong of him to do it. Sorry, Mike, but I do, you know.
You have some copyrights as well.
Yeah, and now this is the next question they always ask. They say, now, Paul, you have Buddy Holly's, and you let them go for commercials. And it's quite true, but the difference is Buddy did commercials. Buddy was into doing commercials, and if you look at his history, he did it. So I don't think it's as bad a thing. Plus, the other thing is his estate, his wife, and all the people who get the money off this stuff, they want to do it. So I think that's a perfectly good reason to do it. If I wanted to do it, or I wanted Michael to do it, then I think that is fair. But I think as the Beatles made such a point of not doing that ever, I think it slightly is starting to belittle it. I mean, I understand Good Day Sunshine's an Oreo cookie.
It is a little disgusting, isn't it?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Tell me about this Liverpool Philharmonic 1991.
Well, that's like a kind of new departure for me. I sent a telegram to a friend of ours who was conducting an orchestra in, Linda and I know this guy. Actually know his wife, it's a long story, but we sent a telegram anyway saying, you know, congratulations, have a good evening and stuff. And he read it out, and the leader of the orchestra said, how about Paul and you writing something for 1991 for the orchestra? So that developed into quite a sort of big idea now. And what it is we're going to do, we're writing this piece. We're halfway through it. We've done like 4 movements. It's like a kind of, I don't know, symphonic, serious thing. It's very exciting for me because everything I've ever written is like intro, 2 verses, chorus, middle 8, verse, chorus, chorus, repeat chorus ad nauseum, and fade, you know. And it's quite nice working like that, but I've been working like that quite a long time. So when I started with this Carl Davis guy, who's the conductor, the great thing is that in so-called serious music or kind of classical music, you don't have to go back to the chorus ever. You never, if you don't want to, you never have to revisit it, or you can revisit it like an hour later or something. So it's quite an exciting form to work in. And there's no rules, which is another good thing.
Is it a real stretch or just...
Well, it's fun. I mean, I enjoy it. Carl Davis is a New York guy who lives in London. He's a real neurotic New York guy. I mean that in a nice way. You know, I'll say to him when we start our sessions, I'll say, how are you feeling, Carl? He said, fragile. I said, cheer up, you know, let's go. He said, oh, I feel terrible. You know, and he'll sit down, and we start on a melody. He said, you're turning me on. This is great. I love it. You know, and we sort of buzz away like this, you know. So it's really good. It's going to be performed by the Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra with their choir, which is like about 80 voices. And then the kids' choir, the cathedral choir, which the nice ironic twist is that I tried out for that choir and got rejected. So I'm coming back to have my revenge.
Overall, what did you think of the 80s, musically and personally?
It was okay. There were some good things. In fact, there were some very good things. I liked Stevie Wonder, still do. I thought Stevie was, like, brilliant. He did a lot of good stuff in the 80s, I think. I like rap, just for its kind of black Americanness. You know, I like that. I've always liked it. I always liked Tamla. I always like that. There's something just very street about it, you know. I like the bass drum in rap. It goes on for about a mile. Instead of like, you know, your disco bass with boop, the rap sort of boom. I like that. There's plenty of good stuff, I think. You know, I always think there's some good stuff around. You know, people sort of, oh, it's rubbish in the charts. The British charts are a bit tough at the moment because they've got this instant poll that tells you what's happening. So all records last about a minute. Now you go to the, you know, Queen puts out a record, goes, and the next second, like, they're out, you know. which is a bit of a bummer because, you know, if you like a record, it's nice to see. And you get millions of these little compilation things, and it's a bit tacky.
Is this tour the highlight for you of, of the 80s?
I think so. You know, I'd have to check exactly what I'd done in the 80s. I'm not a great one for sort of decades. You know, I don't remember the 60s even.
Is it the highlight
Never mind the
tonight?
80s.
Let's just say, is it the highlight tonight?
It's certainly a great buzz to be doing the tour, you know, and I'm really happy with the band. We actually have fun, which is like, you know, the bottom line now.
Like you're having fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're good players, so that's most of the fun right there. But they've got a good sense of humor. I mean, they're quite silly people, so they're good to hang out with.
How about the 90s? What would you like for yourself for the future?
Well, on this tour, we're doing this thing of giving a platform to the Friends of the Earth, which is an environment group. So, not talking about music for a minute, what I think is going to happen in the 90s, I hope, certainly anyway, is that this whole idea of kind of saving the planet and stop poisoning the air, the river, the rain, and everything, which they are poisoning at an amazing rate. I think that is my hope for the 90s, that we'll start to turn that thing around. I mean, I just don't mean me, I'm just giving some publicity to it. But the Friends of the Earth are pretty cool. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to see stuff like that Exxon spill. And when it happens, I think people want them to clean it up. Yeah, they've got enough money. I don't think it's cool for them just to kind of say, well, it looks pretty clean to me. Hey, what do you say, Joe? Yeah, it's clean. Let's go. I don't think that's on anymore. You know, I think a lot of people are going to get up in arms, hopefully, about that. So that's what I'd like to see for me and my kids, and for them and their kids, and us all, you know. And musically, I'd like to, well, 90s is going to be this Liverpool piece. It's going to be part of it. And I'd like to develop with this band. Because really, we haven't actually made an album together. Flowers in the Dirt was, we worked together, but it isn't actually all ours. You know, we've worked with other musicians too. So I look forward to the next album. And we'll probably do a live album off this tour. So I look forward to that. And then the next studio album after that, I'm quite excited about. I don't know how it'll be yet, but I think there's some good potential, you know.
Can you see this band lasting for a while? Because you did have Wing.
Well, you know, yeah, I'd like to think that. You know, I mean, some people have said, oh, come on, you've just put it together for the tour and you'll drop them at the end of the tour. That's certainly not what I'm thinking, you know. We do get on well, and I don't really think we've even scratched the surface yet. I mean, in this show, you'll see Hamish, who's like a fine singer, a real good soul singer. He's not singing to the extent that he could do. You know, it's just it's mainly my show, this show that's coming around now. But I'd like to think on the next album, you know, I could get him working a bit. And I've got some ideas.
Great. We're going to move to VH1, Joe, if you're still in the room.
Let me quiet those guys down after.
That would be great. I'm just telling you that we're moving on to VH1.
Change tapes like
Do, why? How far are we?
1980.
Oh, yeah. A very special piece.
Ooh, I better get sensitive.
I was shocked when Michelle told me. I thought it was half an hour, because that's what we usually do, half an hour.
So cool. It's cool.
It's so cool. It is cool, and it's very, you know, MTV's very. And get the hell out of here.
I know.
Okay, yeah, really. I'm going to put Michelle in the shot. Okay. 1980, now we're VH1 questions. 1989 was a strong year for, quote, veteran rockers. So what does that signal to you about the longevity factor in rock and roll?
Well, it's very interesting, you know, that we've lasted, really, because I don't think any of us expected to last. I mean, if you look at early Beatle stuff, we were interviewed, and they ask us, you know, how long do you think this will last? And we sort of say, ooh, you know, maybe 10 years, maybe. And, you know, what would you like to get out of this? And Ringo's talking about a string of hairdressing salons and stuff. I mean, we didn't really think it was going to last at all. But the Phantom Whistler again.
I think he's going
We
to
had him
bathrooms,
yesterday.
too.
He's great. You're never alone with the Strand. We did this all yesterday. Deja vu. And the lights are going, oh God, it's a message. Hello,
magical here,
it's coming through. Doris Stokes, where are you? Oh my God.
So moving right along to the
Right.
hairdressing salons.
Right.
String of hairdressing salons.
So, yeah, no, I don't think any of us expected it really to last. You know, we thought rock and roll was a kind of young thing, and I think everyone did. But when you get to this age now, you think, well, why did we think it was a young thing? because there's kind of people like Muddy Waters and Ray Charles and all these people who we admired like mad. I never thought, oh, you know, Muddy Waters is an old person. I just listened to his music, you know, I just loved what he did. And I think that's what's kind of happening now, you know, is that, and also the other thing is I think music getting very synthetic towards the end of the 80s, you know, with everything coming out of a little box. Kids at home can do a lot of that stuff. And so what they can't do is what guys like us with 20 years experience of playing live to big audiences can do. We've really have got a few years on some of these kids, you know, and I do think that pays off. My own personal thing was that seeing the Dead, the Grateful Dead, become so popular over the last few years, because, you know, I've got like young nephews and their friends and stuff in America particularly, and I've seen them grow up, and it's strange to see these kids coming around, you know, with headbands on and Dead t-shirts and, yo,
Did you
and
see?
you know, well into Jerry and the gang, you know, and so I think, you know, when you think, well, hell, I mean, it does mean there isn't really a youth factor. It's more a music factor, and I do think kids are getting more into like 60s music. My kids are certainly into like Otis Redding, James Brown, Traffic, Jimi Hendrix, you know, and maybe through Stevie Winwood, you know, then they go back to Traffic. But Linda educates them all, you know, she says, listen to this is great.
Did you see the quote, Jerry Garcia's quote? They said, you know, Paul McCartney said that one of the reasons
in Rolling Stone article.
Did you want to inspire the older bands to go out? And he said, did you see it?
No, yeah, I can't
He
remember his
said,
answer.
fuck no.
Fuck no, that was it. Yeah, that was a great quote, Jerry.
That was like,
One of your best.
and then he went on to say, you know, it's great
Yeah.
to see everybody back, but it was very funny. How is the recording and touring process different now, physically and practically, than it was in the 60s, which you just said you don't remember? Just teasing.
Well, it's very different. I mean, there's hardly anything live about it now, recording, anyway. It's all like layered, you know, it's a technique we got into at the end of the 60s. But when we first started off recording, I just heard Twist and Shout the other day on the radio, and I was telling the kids, I was saying we did that like at the end of a 10-hour session that we took to make our first album. We had to save that one to the end, and if you listen to John's voice, you can tell he's been singing for 10 hours. You know, it's really, it's brilliant, you know, screaming and really gutsy. But we had to save that one right till the end because we couldn't have done the other stuff. If he'd have sung that first, we'd just wrecked him. But I'd say we did do that album that contained some good stuff like Twist and Shout in one day. Now, you won't hear of people doing that any longer. But it gets spirit in it that way. You get this real good spontaneous spirit that if you're lucky enough to be able to get that on record, it really communicates to people, you know. So outside of, I normally don't record like that these days, just because you don't, really. There's no other reason. But then I did recently, the Russian album that we released exclusively in Russia. That was done, we did 18 tracks in a day on that. And that was the old vibe, because you just did it so fast that your mind said, this is too fast, you're not taking enough care, you should slow down and concentrate. But then you say, no, shut up, next track. And at the end of the day, you listen back to it, you know, and all the reviews I've seen, it's kind of, he's singing his tail off. And they go for things like that rather than it's a very precisely put together album. They don't seem to care about that. So if they don't, I don't.
Well, wasn't rock and roll originally all about feeling?
Well, that's what I mean. It was all about that, you know, and certainly soul music and like I'm saying, James Brown and stuff. I don't think they sort of layered it. They just put it down, you know.
One of the
Find everyone in the band till they got it right, and then did a take. But you know, nowadays it is fairly computerized and layered and stuff. Some good music comes out of that. I don't think it's all bad. I think it's some real good stuff.
Okay, well, we have to close. I'm going to ask one last question then. Is that all right? Well, the VH1, they're going to go, oh, thank you, Laura, you did 2 of ours. Okay, commercialism became the norm this year. The Who admitted they were in it for the money. The Stones have beer companies sponsoring their tour. How do you feel about the, quote, selling out of rock and roll?
Well, you know, I don't feel too badly about it, really, because let's face it, I mean, we all got into it for the money. And, you know, the truth, really, you know, we all had to pay bills, and John and I used to sit around and think, you know, let's write a swimming pool. I mean, we did that, you know, it's a laugh, why not?
Can we shoot it like this? Does it look okay?
Can we shoot it like this? We just have to boost it.
Okay, moving right along, yeah.
So, I mean, I think, you know, people were, to some degree, always in it for the money. And if you do a deal, you don't want the worst deal you can get, you want the best deal, you know. So, I don't know, really. I suppose it's in the minds of the punters who go to the shows. If they feel it's a sellout and they feel it spoils the show a bit, then that's a pity. I personally am not too heavily into that. I do, as I said earlier, on another station, another place.
That's okay, they're both gonna.
Are they?
Yeah.
I think it sometimes can cheapen the music. I don't think it's hurt the Stones, really. I don't know. I haven't kind of heard any feedback that's been too bad. I think it's all right. Personally, to me, it's the kind of sponsor. You know, if it's sort of a ladies' shampoo, and I feel a bit, wait a minute, you know, what are we doing here? You know, I'd like there to be some kind of thing I can link up with, you know. So I don't mind sponsorship, really. But, you know, each to his own. If they want to do it that way, fine. You know, if people still come to their concerts and enjoy it, which I think people have done, I don't think it makes much difference, really.
As you know, we're doing this hour special on you, and there's also a half-hour VH1 special on the Kinks, and I need your opinion of the Kinks, and then we're done. If you could,
need my
please.
opinion on what, darling?
The Kinks.
The Kinks?
The Kinks.
Great group. Shut up, Dara. Kinks are a great group, yeah. Always loved them. And we played with them in Brighton once. It was a real hot summer, and both of us, it was like our first real hot year, and they supported us. We were top of the bill. They did the first half, and we did the second. Special memory for me. It was great. They were really hot and you know, early Kinks. And we went out to into the boxes. It was a little theatre with those little ashtray kind of boxes, and we watched them, I remember. And the lights came on all over the world. It was marvellous.
It's amazing.
This is technology in the modern world.
It's really so
Probably
embarrassing.
computerized these lights. Yeah.
That's it. They go on and off at well, I think it was like, yeah, I know, I've got
Folks,
them.
it's the up and down
IDs,
lighting
and we're
show.
done, and you know.
Hi,
But they need to be
this is Paul McCartney, and you're watching UTV. Hello, this is Paul McCartney, getting you... Is that all right?
We need them direct to camera.
We need them good
Yeah.
and direct to camera.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Paul McCartney. Oh, God. I love doing these. Hi, this is Paul McCartney, and you're watching MTV. Okay, wait a minute. I could do these, even remembering them. Hi, this is Paul McCartney, and you're watching MTV. You didn't know that, did you? Sucker. Oh, come on. So straight up. This is Paul McCartney. Get ready for the Week in Rock. Hello, this is Paul McCartney, getting ready for the Week in Rock. Hold longer? Okay. No, they've got a freeze frame.
Yeah, we can do it.
We have the technology. This is Paul McCartney
'Cause you
on
can tell from the
VH1,
lights.
channel for grown-ups. We're still growing up. Oh, I like this one. Hi, this is Paul McCartney on VH1, the channel for grown-ups who are still growing up. Is that long enough?
I think we need to do that one again
Freezer.
because somebody was talking.
It's good, it's atmosphere. Hello, this is Paul McCartney. Hello, this is Paul McCartney wishing VH1 a very happy birthday. Hold it longer at the end, please. Okay. Hello, this is Paul McCartney, and you're watching My Generation.
Can we do the grown-ups growing up again?
Yeah,
Just because.
certainly.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, this is Paul McCartney on HGV. How are you doing? It's great here, isn't it? No. Just a moment, just a second. I can do this seriously. Hi, this is Paul McCartney on VH1, the channel for grown-ups who are still growing up. Growing up. Growing up.
Now, are we at the Japanese one? Yeah. What we want to do is they're giving...
Win a trip to come see me in Japan. No, ethnic slurs, cut. Come on, lads.
We're gonna. No, I'll show you what we're
Please,
gonna. No, we're gonna take this part out. Right? This is out.
This is
This
all
is-
out.
You have the edited one I've been had before.
It's I just changed.
Just you know, animate over all of this. Just draw all over it. It'll look great. Hi, I'm Paul McCartney. Good statement. Send in your postcard to join me when I rock Japan.
This is for the big contest with,
Right.
yeah, you can put in your, yeah.
Okay. Hi, Bob. I'm going to send you a postcard to join me. Welcome. Hi, I'm Paul McCartney. Send in your postcard and join me when I rock Japan. That's rock Japan. Hi, I'm Paul McCartney. Send in your postcard and join me when I rock Japan. Whoa, that's the one they like. Serious and sensible and like a real presenter.
Wait, there's an end line on that. It's going,
Wait a minute, that was the best one you looked
that was
at.
great. No. This is the end line.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's the end of the promo. Then they show some other stuff, and then they say,
Do not disgrace me.
no, don't do that part, because they,
one.
oh, you like it
May
too?
the
Then.
gods smile on your household. Okay.
Okay. They told me you didn't want to do that one.
I
That's
know,
fine.
but he doesn't know anything. That's why he's our publicity man. That's why you hire them. They mustn't know things. Spoils it. Right, Rock Japan with me, only on VH1. Rock Japan with me, only on VH1.
Toilet flushes.
This is the down-to-earth show, folks. Toilets flushing, people whistling. We don't care.
Could we,
This is real life on VH1.
could we do the last one again without the
Sure.
toilet, please?
Rock Japan with me, only on VH1.
Fabulous, wonderful. Can I get you to sign my release form, please?
I don't think I should release this.
Yeah, really, release this. Thank
No,
you.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh my God, don't you hate those things?